Hi everyone. So for a long time, I had this idea where I wanted to talk about certain topics and issues and just have a conversation and share my opinions about them. Most of the topics that I'm planning to talk about are going to be around mental health and the stigma associated with it. And I strongly feel actually that such issues should not really have any stigma or negative stereotyping, but people still are really shy, and they are not very forthcoming when such issues arise, or in publicly talking about them, which should not be the case. So what I'm attempting to do here is to pick up a topic, just share my opinions, my ideas, my own personal life experience, and really try and just start a conversation, and we'll see how it goes from there. So, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is loneliness. And before I go into details, there are two things that I want to clarify. One, I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be a professional on such matters. These are just my opinions and just my real life experiences. And secondly, there's a very distinct difference between being alone and being lonely. Alone is something that is a matter of choice. I go to the gym alone and I really enjoy it. I love cooking, but I usually enjoy doing it alone. When I go for a walk, I like and prefer doing it alone. So alone is something which has an element of choice to it. I strongly believe that there should be certain activities in a person's life that he or she likes doing alone, or it's their me time, as to say. Loneliness is not about being with people. It's more about relating with people. You can be surrounded by friends, family, and loved ones and still feel lonely. It's about missing a deeper or more meaningful connection, which is really it stems from. And unfortunately, most of the time, what happens is that people either sort of mistake loneliness for depression, or their loneliness causes depression, which in either case is not a really good thing to happen. So what I will do is that I'll quickly share two of my personal experiences where I was feeling lonely, and then we will really just go from there and see how it goes. So back in 2014, I was working in McDonald's, really long hours. My university, I had my classes from 9 a.m. till like almost 4. And then in the evening, around half 5 or 6, I would usually start my shift at McDonald's. And you would finish at like midnight. And once you're finished, by the time you pack up and, do the closing procedure, you would reach home. I would be at home around like 2 or half 2 in the morning. And there was a really small window to catch the bus, which is the last bus in the night. And if you missed that, it was a 45 to 50-minute walk easy. And one of these particular days, I was functioning on, I think, 3 or 4 hours of sleep. I was really exhausted. I couldn't skip the shift because I needed the money at the time. And I finished my shift and I ran towards the bus stop. But unfortunately, as I reached the bus stop, I saw the last bus leaving, and I just gave up. I couldn't like try and chase it, so I had to walk home. And as I was walking home, I started having thoughts. I just started thinking about why I moved to England, about my job back home, and my living conditions in this country. And by the time I reached home, all of these thoughts were consuming me. They were like hammering at my head. And then I opened my door and I saw my room, which was empty, and it suddenly hit me like a truck. And in that moment, I felt so lonely. Not alone, because my housemate was still up and awake and he was in the kitchen. I could have spoken with him, but in that moment I just felt so lonely. And I distinctively remember the feeling that I was getting was that there is no possible way that any human being would understand what I'm going through. Which, of course, in retrospect is wrong. I was at fault over there, and I would explain why. But in that moment, I really thought that no one can understand what's happening to me, and I don't have anyone that I can relate to or share this experience with. You know, so I that was the connection that was missing. The other experience that happened was quite recent. Actually, it was last night where I was at a birthday party with my friends. Some of my closest friends were there. It was an amazing night. We were having food and dancing and taking pictures and having fun, and I was really enjoying myself. At some point in the night, I just stepped out of the main living room where everyone was, and I was having a glass of water. And I looked back into the room and I saw these people. And again, that feeling, that overwhelming feeling that hit me before the McDonald's night came back to me, where I looked at everyone, they were all happy and having fun. And I felt like an outcast. I felt that I don't really belong to this group, or no one really belongs to me in this group. Which is funny because, again, those people, some of them are literally my best friends in England. And in that moment, again, I had that feeling where I was like, no, I can't relate to these people, or these people can't understand what I'm feeling. And what's funny is that in both these occasions, or at least in the second one, there is no obvious reason why I was feeling like this. But it is just something that was happening. At this point, obviously, I want to acknowledge and say that there are quite a lot of people out there who both feel alone and lonely, or who are alone and as a result feel lonely. So I'm not saying that, if you're feeling lonely, it can't be the other way around. You can be alone and hence feel lonely. So that's not what really I'm saying. But I would like to talk about how I learn to process such things and what I do about them. So the first thing, and I think which is the most difficult but the most important thing, is to acknowledge that this is happening. Is to, and that is basically, I think that would be pretty much the theme with most of the issues that I'll talk about. Acknowledging and refusing to, or sorry, not refusing, but acknowledging the issue and not denying it, not being in denial. Because what happens is that the minute you acknowledge this, that you're feeling lonely or you're feeling, shitty, you immediately gain the upper hand over this feeling and you don't let it have power over it. You embrace it, you accept it. So that's what I do actually. So and of course, again, like, different people will have different ways to go about it, but in my experience what happens is that you just you I accepted that night, last night I accepted that I was feeling alone, I accepted that I was feeling lonely. And the minute I did that, it stopped having power over me. Because now I can see the enemy, I know the face of it, and I now can equip myself to deal with it. And what I did was really simple. All of this happened within the span of like 2 or 3 minutes. I just walked back into the room, I hugged my best friend, we had a quick chat just about some random stuff, and I started eating cake and dancing again. And that's it. It did not obviously permanently resolve the issue. Will I never feel lonely again? Of course not. I will, at some point in my life, feel lonely again. But at that point, in that moment, when it was overwhelming me, when it had the chance to ruin my entire night, I sort of managed to handle it. And that is what most of the time really helps. Is we should not try and fight this, every single time. There's no point trying to fight such feelings. Because it's like saying that, oh, I'm feeling hungry, and have you tried not being hungry? What sort of argument is that? What sort of logic is that? If I'm feeling hungry, I'm going to accept that I'm feeling hungry, and I'm going to go and eat something or fix myself a snack. Same goes with negative feelings. If I'm feeling lonely, I wouldn't immediately force myself not to feel it. I'm a strong believer in accepting and living out your feelings. I felt lonely in that moment. I acknowledged it. I processed it. And then I sort of tried and do something. I didn't actively went into denial and tried and fight it off. So yeah, I'll keep it short, and depending on how it goes, really, we'll see and pick up more topics. But the next topic that I want to talk about after loneliness is probably, it's going to be about body image issues. That is something that I can personally relate with, and I would like to share my experiences on it. And before I finish this video, all I want to really say is that, again, I'm just trying to have an open and honest discussion about such things. And remember, as if one thing you can take away from all of this, please know that you are not the only person who's going through such feelings. There are millions and millions of human beings who experience such things, and there are people who have dealt with it, or who are dealing with it, or who are experiencing this right now. So we're not alone in this. And try and be kind to everyone. That is why we should be kind to really everyone around us, because everyone we really see and meet, they're going through some stuff. But yeah, try and stay positive, try and stay happy, and let me know what you guys think. Thank you.